Hey guys, kanolifez here, and it's that time of the year again. It's time for me to review the Year 2 Sem 1 modules that I've done in SUSS lah, as a business analytics student. Yeah, so overall for this semester, it's really a lot of ups and downs overall lah. Well, I do have quite a bit of experiences here and there for the different modules that I would like to share lah in just a bit via this video. Yep. And mainly probably just mainly be stay tuned for one of the videos that will be up. Actually, just stay tuned with one of the footages that is going to be nearer towards the end of the video that will be related to one of the modules that I had for this semester. Okay, so well, see you all in a bit while I start the review now.
So here are mainly the different modules that I have for Year 2 Sem 1 modules, such as ACC 202, AL 312, AL 305, ICT 133, NIE 201, and NIE 351 itself. Okay, so I will mainly just go through these modules in just a bit. So we will just start with the first module that I have for this semester, which is one of the major modules, which is Financial and Managerial Accounting, which is ACC 202. You will mainly get to learn about financial accounting, to learn about your assets, your equity, your liabilities, and your income and expenses form of things. And there's a lot of the financial ratios that you also learn from Fin 203 that I still do not know why, as of right now, that they want to lead from finance Fin 203 to accounting 202, which I mentioned in the previous video. But there's this small 20% that I kind of see why, but I'll mainly explain later. But mainly that's the financial part. Then afterwards there's the managerial accounting portion of it. That you'll also do the different types of managerial accounting stuff lah. Okay, managerial accounting stuff like there are lots of the tables that you need to do, mainly due to like depreciation or any other sort of things that honestly I've forgotten since it's actually nearer to the end of the year. Yeah, for me to currently talk about this. So for accounting, right, really as a person that after going through the lessons, right, and actually I'm not really that much of an enthusiast in terms of accounting right after, because there's certain concepts also similar to Fin 203 that are just things that I just do not understand at all. However, at least that the prof that I had was actually quite engaging to the students and make us wonder as well. And also some of the things that most of the concepts that he did try to explain, he did his best. Unlike a certain Fin 203 prof that I had. But yeah, personally, accounting 202, I actually prefer it over Fin 203, but definitely with some cons in terms of accounting modules in the school actually. So two things first. First thing about accounting modules in SUSS. So first thing, for apparently this financial and managerial accounting concept wise, for accounting students, perhaps you will learn by POA in secondary school. Okay, that's one. Apparently you only learn financial accounting, which I didn't take POA lah. I'm just stating what I know. Then towards polytechnic courses, if it's, let's say, in terms of accounting, apparently financial and managerial accounting are two separate entities, like two separate modules. So it's like, for example, maybe just financial accounting can be learned in one semester, and managerial accounting can be learned in a future semester. That was what I remember from what my accounting friends say. Yeah. So for accounting 202, I'm actually surprised that they actually lump in two modules of different semesters into like this uni lah, basically. So I mean 6 weeks, 6 lessons, it can be quite jam-packed. So it's quite but at least for some reason and somehow I can still grasp, even though there are still a lot of things that I can be actually confused about. This is just accounting in general that I can be a bit confused, similar to Fin 203. Yeah. Another thing that SUSS did for accounting modules in general for accounting is that you don't have any classroom recordings available, but personally, I think maybe it's because like they just want to like keep within the accounting standards or something, some privacy they want to entail in, but they didn't really want to show any classroom recordings for accounting 202. So I guess that is a con as compared to Fin 203. Yeah, but all I can say is just pay attention to the lessons, man. Absolute cinema moment. Yeah. And lastly, the third one, which is why I kind of say apparently there was a high failure rate for this module before my cohort happened. Yeah, apparently for my cohort for accounting 202, they mainly changed some parts of the syllabus for this module, such as previously there was journal entries that has credit and debit accounts also. For this cohort they removed it lah. Yeah, from what I know. So I'm not really sure if the difficulty spike in terms of that for the syllabus wise would actually like help improve like the passing rate for this module. I don't not really know like how the passing rate for the current ACC 202 is like that. So this one I cannot really say for sure. But it was an okay paper lah for me. So mainly for this, right? Actually, I will just place it over here. Slightly, actually no, it's better than bus 100 lah for me. Yeah, accounting 202 is a very high C tier, but rather low B tier. Yeah, mainly pretty much because of a lot of different problems that accounting 202 has. But then at the same time, it's actually quite a bit of pros that actually outweigh the cons in Fin 203. Man, Fin 203 is just a disaster. Speaking of disasters, we're actually going to another major module that I have for this sem is ANL 312, which is text mining and applied project formulation. Right? Why I also technically mentioned about how I was kind of tired in my video, in my second day in the live video, which entails the year 2 sem 1 modules from me. Mainly for this, right, I have a few different reasons for this, okay. It mainly goes through the different concepts of text mining, yes. Text mining, and then how the different text mining by IBM SPSS modeler or R throughout the lessons, right, you'll learn. You'll be able to see by the text by Reddit, see by the text by Twitter, or see by the text by Facebook, YouTube videos, or if you want to buy an item, Shopee. See whether the semantics of the reviews are more towards favorable or unfavorable from the different reviews, and mainly just like see whether it will affect your customer buying decisions. So it is good in a way for ANL 312 to exist, but oh god, it's like I said earlier, it's a disaster in different ways. Okay, so let me just start with one of the few reasons why it's a disaster. Okay, so first things first about 312, right? It's that I do not understand why, right, for the module center for this module, right, to do these two things. Okay, these two things are quite crucial for this module. So first, right, I do not understand why ANL 312 decide to put in this APA citation section, right? Okay, I say APA citation section for you to learn how to write APA references, okay? How to bring up this references list, and how to do this citation via the what do you call it? The report that you have, okay? I do not understand, right? Like this kind of thing, APA citation section, right? At most, right, I feel like at most it will take 1 hour. Okay, 1 hour to go through this type of things, citations and stuff. Because, like, I mean, we are currently in year 2 sem 1 lah, and there are actually like different modules like your NCOs and probably like some SCOs that previous cohorts have, and like just some ANL mods also require us to actually like put in our APA citations, or maybe just put in like our references list also there lah, which both are important lah. But we have gone through 1 year of this, right? And I don't understand why you would need, I would say 2.5 hours of lesson content just for APA citation, and we only have 18 hours of lesson time throughout the 6 lessons. Why would you want to waste 2.5 hours on APA citation and references list? Why? Yeah, I don't get it. You don't really need 2.5 hours to complete all these APA citations and references lists that we mainly have done from the NCL modules beforehand. It's just a real waste of time. Yeah, it's just a real waste of time. And secondly, to why I say it's also a disaster, okay. It's an ECA module, by the way, it's not an exam-based module. But holy shit, for this module, right, being a year 2 sem 1 module is actually quite intensive compared to the others in terms of how the ECA is formatted. So for this, you will need to come up with your own data set that can be from online sources, which honestly that one is not as bad, but as you can find from Kaggle, okay. But here's the thing, you are to write down a 5,000 word report. Not pages, not like 15 pages, 5,000 word essay. Oh god. Oh god, even NCOs don't like extend to that much. 5,000 word versus 1,500 words at most, okay? At most 1,500 words from these NCO mods. This is 5,000. Holy shit! And we also need to talk about the different sections and then CRISPM and stuff like that. Also learn from 303. But holy shit, this is way more complicated than what I can think it would be. So I would say just prepare for this ECA to come. Okay. And the very last thing that I really did not like, say 312 for lah, it's the prof also. Honestly, for the prof, right, the pronunciations compared to 303, right, for 312, okay, many people can understand how 303 is like and how the teacher explains the stuff. The opposite happens for 312. It's the pronunciations. How could one pronounce error like as arrow? I don't get it either. I need help. But yeah, it's quite difficult to like follow through the lesson also, as she's quite talking to herself still. Even though yes, there's still some like participation points, but that's the most she would ever ask for. Okay. But honestly, she's a kind teacher lah. But I would just say as much as possible, similar to accounting to just pay as much attention as possible and just read the study guide beforehand first. And lastly, to take note for this 312 module of a personal opinion that I had was, personally, if I did not take the text mining module back in poly, okay, if text mining module was non-existent in poly, okay, I would not have liked this module or would not have been a fan of this module at all, okay, at all. But luckily, my poly have lah, and I liked text mining beforehand. But it was how the module was executed in the school. Text mining is not the best, really. And so ANL 312 overall will be right here, and at a very low C tier for me. Otherwise, if it's just the first lesson alone, hands down, easily we have been the worst like module that I've went through so far in SUSS. Yes, really, it's that bad. Hopefully this is the only ANL mod that I would just say this is just as bad as it goes. Okay, the lowest C tier. Okay, I'm done. So next module, it's a major elective module that I've chosen for my major elective compulsory stuff. So the next one that I'm going to go through is ANL 305, which is association and clustering, which you might have heard of these terms before, mainly through ANL 303, which is in SU4. So mainly for ANL 305, it mainly goes deeper into those concepts, okay, association and clustering, and mainly goes through the various algorithms and the differences between them that you can use in the different situations lah, and mainly for different case scenarios as well. Yes, So for ANL 305, right, I do not really have a lot or much talk about the module other than to just say, okay, it's an easy S tier for me lah. I pretty much like this module, even though it's not the similar prof, but the concepts wise are quite new to me, quite new, quite foreign, and slightly different from the things that I learned in poly lah. I mean, not that different, but it's still quite a lot of new things that I can learn from this module. And yeah, you can mainly just use it in most of the case scenarios that you can learn in like business cases from here. Okay, and to also add on wise, right? Previously for ANL 305, it was a compulsory module for the past cohort, right? Apparently, it's a compulsory module lah. But if you're asking me if you are mainly like interested into analytics modules, okay, I'll suggest to take ANL 305 lah, as one of them lah. And also, lastly, there's also some concepts that you also learn in regards to ANL 312, so where there's a portion of it, okay, who states on, hey, you also learn about the different distances that you learn in clustering, such as the Manhattan distance, if I remember correctly. There are some like different algorithms you also learn from there. And so for example, multinomial based theorem, yeah, there's some applications to take note lah. Yeah, though I would say 305, really not much to say other than it's very similar to ANL 303 lah. Okay, lastly for 305, there's also one con that can be shared with ANL 307, is that you technically need to remember about Python codes, especially for SU6. So unless that is taken out for future semesters, like syllabus wise, you might want to remember those like few parts of the code so that you can get your maximum 10 marks, if not 6 marks, around that range lah. Even though some of them say it's challenging, honestly, with practice, with the questions, with the exam questions, I believe y'all can do it. Yes. With the next module, which is actually a minor that I am taking lah. So I'm taking minor in ICT, which is Information Technology. Yes. So for this, I'm currently taking my first minor module in ICT, which is ICT 133, Structured Programming. Okay, so for structured programming, you mainly get to learn the basics of Python coding. SU1, pretty much the basics of Python coding from there. SU2 is the same, but you also learn about the different operations in mathematics, basically. I would say similar to computational logic. Also for further topics, you also get to learn about for loops and while loops, files, dictionaries, and lists also that you also learn for this module. Personally, I think it's a fun module to take. In terms of, for me, it's kind of a recap for what I've learned for Python, even though I actually only learned Python for only one of the semesters I have in poly lah. Only 1 out of 6 semesters. Yeah, even though I say it's fun, right, it does come with its cons lah. Yeah, for this ICT modules in SUSS, right, that mainly I decided to take lah. Okay, so what I've observed is that most of these ICT modules, if you checked around the contents or like the examinable contents for ICT modules in general, their exam component, okay, unlike the other exam components for other ANL or maybe, I don't know, marketing courses that you see over there, it's 50% exam, okay, 50% exam and all. For ICT 133, is a 70% exam component, which can shock others like what the heck, 70%, how to pass this, how to pass that. Yeah, because pretty much if you do not really like do well in the exam component, if let's say you have lower than 35%, I mean since it's 70%, if you're lower than the so-called over 40% for the exam, then you will need to resit for the next exam, which is a scary part which you cannot guarantee about the passing rate for ICT 133. I still could took it anyway because at least I guess I still can find the interest for it. So I would just go for ICT 133. But if I were to advise people for taking ICT 133, okay, if you truly want to have the interest of like wanting to program or code something, I would say at least before going into the module, at least go through some programming courses by Coursera, or maybe some like LinkedIn courses as well, or Google certificate if there is any. Yeah, so I would just recommend to do those first. Otherwise, as like some other Python programmers or like beginners that go into this module, right? They will not really like this module as it's quite condensed into 6 lessons also within the 12 weeks, which can be quite of a rush to learn one single programming language, I mean. Yeah. So honestly, this ICT 133 can be quite tough, but mainly it's fun for me lah. Yeah. So I will just explain it that way. So for ICT 133 is better than BUS 105 for me, so it's at A tier for me. So for the next module that I've went through for SUSS core modules for the SAM is Interdisciplinary Processes for a Better World, which is NIE 2001. Okay, so NIE 201 brings us into like the different world aspects of like say, maybe in terms of poverty, in terms of the environment, in terms of like the aging population in the whole wide world, or like some different aspects that honestly I do not remember. There can be underlying problems that can happen into the different scenarios itself that people might see on the face value, but do not expect it to be another form of reason that they would expect it. Basically, this is what NIE 201 is about. Personally, I feel it's quite dry to the fact that one, the marking script is quite can be quite strict. I don't really have much to talk about for NIE 201 other than just being dry and the strict marking script for that, and the dry lessons also. So mainly for this one, right? This one, I'm actually going to rank it actually better than BUS 100 by a bit. That is just the difference that I have in comparison to the rest of the modules. Okay. Yeah, that is about it actually. Because NIE 201 is another thing here is that you also get to work with the different teams that are randomly, okay, depends on prof, but mine was randomly given to me by 抽签 in terms of like lottery lah. Basically, we get to randomly choose our teams from there. Yeah. So NIE 201, I'm just saying it's quite a meh module, but definitely better than what some of the modules have out there in terms of NCOs wise. Yeah, this is the only module, probably the only module that I do not have much, I'll say context or kind of a lot of explaining for, even though the synopsis is quite a lot actually. Okay, so for the last module that I've done for this semester as an SUSS core module, which is NIE 351, which is Interdisciplinary Global Learning, which actually helps to fulfill the compulsory global learning portion of the student curriculum lah. Yeah, so for this one, NIE 351 wise, I mainly have gone to Penang for the country, but you can actually choose for other countries, okay? NIE 351 to Penang lah, to mainly learn about the different treatments that they have over there, like traditional and complementary medicine, TNCM part of it. Yeah, so mainly I've went there for mainly like 7 days, at least 7 days and 6 nights of a trip lah. As compared to other countries, you may have some that are within 2 weeks, or it's also similar to 7 days as well lah. So for NIE 351, it's actually quite similar to NIE 201. I can say technically is a NIE 351 is technically a sequel to NIE 201 that you will also learn and apply for your interdisciplinary elements into the different problems that we observe and see from the possible perceptions that we may have beforehand. And then NIE 351 is this so-called hands-on component for you to experience what the overseas culture is like and how to solve these aforementioned problems that we would like to solve lah. Okay, technically it will be similar to 201 that you have also teams that are provided for us to mainly like help the different teams and problems from there. Okay, and then just have ourselves explore it from. Personally, definitely is way more fun than NI 201. Outside of the lesson wise, but it's just more of the trip wise that I really have went for lah. So mainly here's the video that I have for y'all. Enjoy. GG.
Okay lah.
NA351 has been quite a journey for me for the trip wise, even though there definitely are some cons that I would like to state first. So before I actually give my grading for this module. Okay, so for this module, right, okay, two things. So first thing, right, is let's just say, okay, for NI351, not only do you need to pay fees, okay, for this module as a 5CU module, okay, the next thing is you also need to pay the school fees, okay, pay the school fees for the trip, okay, for the trip, and minimally is at least 1K. I repeat, at least 1K. So that means not only do you pay around an $800 school fee, but you're also paying an additional 1K for the trip itself. Even though I would state that for the trip itself, you can find the AEP subsidies for it, but except that this is only for ASEAN countries. Okay, so maybe in the future, if there's another Japan trip that NI351 has, which I wanted to go Japan for, but I didn't make it to the ECR promptly to make it to that country. Okay, so apparently there's no AEP subsidies for Japan, which is around 2K-ish, but for ASEAN countries like Malaysia, like for my case Penang, is actually subsidized, which is actually a good thing, but we need to complete some prerequisites before we can actually claim for that subsidies lah. Yeah, so just be prepared for extra payment for the trip itself. And it's sad lah that we also need to pay for the 5CU school fees just because of CU's the reason of CU's. It's quite ridiculous lah if you ask me. But mainly if I were to maybe go to another country, maybe I will have more fun over there. But for me, Malaysia in Penang, for me it's okay lah. Just maybe it can be a bit boring at times, but overall still had fun at the end of the day. Yeah. Though another thing for the costs for the trip wise, definitely would be having like more activities within the same time that would make our bucks worth lah. Yeah, for this module to be actually like to be an A tier for me lah. Yeah, so because I said that, right, it's definitely not an A tier lah because of the concept I said. So for me, honestly, it'll be on just nice, right? Be on par with NCO 203 for me, as NI351 also has some stuff that I can be quite it can be quite difficult to pinpoint on the different essay points to come up with, which comes up with some like critical thinking stuff like that we need to come up with for our problem statement. So I'd say both of them are quite in gel with each other, thus they are actually the same tier lah. That's one another for me. Also another thing that I forgot to mention, unlike other 5CU modules like NL 201, Counting 202, and NIE 201 some more, usually they have 6 lessons. So for NIE 351, for us to even still pay 5CU worth of lessons that we have, we only have 4 lessons. 4. And we still need to pay the additional trip. What? It was technically triggering me for one half of the sem. But pretty much the trip experience pretty much got carried this module towards the B tier lah. If not, you would have gone down to C or D tier. But yeah, the trip experience was quite a good one lah for me. Yeah, and just met my expectations lah. So mainly I've come to the end for the year 2 sem 1 modules. So here's the updated tier list. It's not really a lot of updates here actually. Perhaps C tier is quite loaded, but I wouldn't really consider like NCO 111 as a so-called D tier. Yeah, pretty much it's this tier list as of right now lah. Though it might change for year 2 sem 2 lah, for how the modules would be like for next sem. Yeah, so I guess this is about it for year 2 sem 1 modules, and mainly as the end of 2024 right now, and transitioning towards 2025. I hope y'all will have a very good year of 2024, and I'll see y'all in 2025 with more videos. Alright, so another thing is, remember to like, comment and subscribe to my channel, and I will see y'all in the next videos very soon. Alright, see y'all, bye bye.